Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Yasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Yasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Vishapad Paramahang Sarvavi Jakacharya Asatara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace to the Sri Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananda Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Maya Purnavi Dham Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Gau Premanandi All glories some devotees, all glories some devotees, all glories some devotees, all glories, Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So today is the cleansing of the Guṇḍicā temple. So I was thinking, since Ratha-yātrā is not too far away, in 5.5 weeks we all go to Los Angeles, Ratha-yātrā. So I think it's been 2 years we weren't able to do it, right? So this will be, no, I think 2 years, right? 2 years? Yeah, we did. 19th we went, right? 2019, then 20 and 21st we didn't, so this is 22. So, be exciting. Hare Krishna explosion up there. The people will be happy to see us again. On the Venice Beach, they love us, you know, the festival. Huh? Oh, I don't know. Huh. So in the chapter in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's the cleansing of the Guṇḍicā temple. So actually it's, there's that, and then there's the Ratha-yātrā afterwards. I thought I would go through this here. It's interesting that chapter starts out with King Prataparudra, who's wanting to get the darshan of Lord Chaitanya. But Lord Chaitanya wouldn't give it. Why? He's a king. And there's a verse in that chapter, Niskincinasya Bhagavat Bhajanonmukasya Padang Padang Jigamasur Bhavasagaras Sandarsanam Asitositanja Ha Hanta Hanta Vishabhak Sanatopya Sadhu. He says that for one who is desiring to cross over this vast ocean of material existence, to see or associate with a person who's interested in money and materialistic activities is worse than willingly drinking poison. So he didn't want to associate, because generally king means, you know, women and money and a lot of material activities. So he wouldn't even think of it. Even his senior disciples, they were trying to coerce him to give him some association. If you mention this again, I'm going to leave, he said. So, yeah, and King Prataparudra, he was lamenting. He said, Lord Chaitanya is so merciful, he's come to save everyone but one king, named King Prataparudra. So he was actually a great devotee, but he had that title. It was a problem. So, so that goes on. Then it goes on to the pastime of the Guṇḍicā, and it's described that Lord Chaitanya, he asked for permission to Kazimidra and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and the superintendent of the temple there, if it would be okay if he cleaned the temple. Lord Chaitanya is very humble. He's asking for permission. Can I clean the temple? Yeah, yeah, it's okay. You can go ahead. Yeah. So he got so many devotees together to clean the temple. Hundreds Hundreds of devotees were cleaning. And what were they doing while they were cleaning? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And if they needed anything, what would they do? Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna. It's just Krishna Krishna, just Krishna, a lot of Krishnas going on. Cleaning this temple. So Lord Chaitanya, he's very clean. You heard the saying that cleanliness is next to godliness. God is very clean. So Lord Chaitanya is very clean, and he was taking great pleasure in cleaning the temple. So he was sweeping the temple, and he had others sweeping. And he said that, what did he say? He said, it said that he was working, he was performing the work of 100 men. He was going for so fast. It was like 100 men at once. And he said, whoever did the least of sweeping had to pay a fine of cakes and rice. They had to pay a fine. This reminds me of this pastime of Prabhupada. He mentioned how there was this one very wealthy family in India, and everyone had to go to Mangalartik in the house. And if someone wasn't there for Mangalartik, they had to pay a fine, 10 rupees. 10 rupees. Now back then, 10 rupees was a lot more than it is now. So Prabhupada said, we can do that here also. If anybody doesn't come from Mangalartik, they have to go out and distribute a Krishna book. That was the fine. And devotee said, Jai Prabhupada. So, Lord Chaitanya said, I can see how much you labored by how much dirt and dust you've gathered. So some were gathering more and some were gathering less. So he could judge by that. And in the purport to this section, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said that we should cleanse our hearts very, very thoroughly so that we can receive Krishna within our heart. So there's so much dust, lust and anger and greed and envy and so much dirt there and Krishna doesn't want to be in a dirty place. So we're trying to cleanse the heart, trying to cleanse the mind so that Krishna feels very comfortable. If it's a very nice, clean house, people feel comfortable when you come in. Right? So we want the Lord to feel very comfortable. So now fast forwarding, now they've cleansed the Guṇḍicā temple, and then they're having Ratha-yātrā. They bring the Lord out, and it's described that there's 7 Sankirtan parties. 7. Now generally there's 3, but there's 7. For some reason there's 7. And Lord Chaitanya was going to each of the parties. He would go and he would dance. Imagine that. You're in Kirtan and Lord Chaitanya is there dancing. Phew. Must have been really ecstatic. So at one point Lord Chaitanya was in all the parties at once. It's like Krishna would expand himself with all the gopis or the cowherd boys. So Lord Chaitanya, he did the same. He was in each of the parties. But only a few could see that he was in each of the parties. And what's amazing is King Prataparudra, he was one of them. He got the mercy. And why did he get the mercy? Because before the cart, Lord Jagannath, he was sweeping. Now for us, that's not a big thing, But he was a big king. He was a powerful king. At that time, the Muslims were all over India. They had practically taken over India, but not Orissa, because he was such a powerful king. And this powerful king was sweeping the street before Lord Jagannath. When Lord Chaitanya saw that, he was just he was overwhelmed. He captured the heart of Lord Chaitanya by taking that menial service of sweeping the street. So he got the mercy. And then someone, I think it was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, said that there is a way for you to get the special mercy of Lord Chaitanya. That he's gonna be tired at some point. And he's gonna go into this garden. I think it's Ayatota garden. And he's gonna rest. So you go in there, take off all your kingly garb, go in there as a mendicant, Vaishnava, and you chant this chapter, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Gopi Gita, and massage his feet. So King Pratapa thought, well, that sounds like a good plan. So he did just that. Lord Chaitanya went in there, he's resting, and he starts chanting these slokas, and he's massaging, and Lord Chaitanya became so pleased, so happy. Especially when we got to this one verse, Tavakatamratam tapta jivanam kavirbiitam kamasapam Shavana Mangalam Srimad Aptatam Bhubigranate Bodhidajana. That your glories are relished by those who are no longer interested in the false, temporary, illusory pleasures of this world. And those persons who are giving this knowledge out to the people, they're the most munificent. Yeah. So this is a Sankirtan verse by the gopis. So Lord Chaitanya told him, repeat that verse, repeat it again. And Lord Chaitanya loved that verse. Yeah. And then he was saying, who are you? Who are you? So he couldn't say, he couldn't tell him the truth. So what did he say? I'm the servant of your servant. That's truthful. So he got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we're going to get the mercy also. We're going to have this nice Ratha-yātrā coming up. I heard this is the only day that everyone goes up.
Well, it's the only day we close the Sunday feast.
Yeah. Oh, there's no Sunday feast.
Yeah, Sunday feast all the other days.
Devotees are here taking care of the deities. Other than that, everybody just goes. Yeah. Exciting. Okay, now for the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Idam Hi Yogeshvara Yoga Naipunam Hiranyagarbo Bhagavan Jagata Yat Yad Antikale Tvai Nirgune Mano Bhaktya Dadhito Jita Duskalevara Idam hi yogeshvara yoga naipunam Hiranyagarbo Bhagavan Jagadayat Hirantakale Dvai Nirgune Mano Bhaktya Dadhito Jita Duskalevaraha Idam hi yogeshvara yoga naipunam Hiranyagarbho Bhagavan Jagadayat Hirantakale Dvai Nirgune Mano Bhaktya Dadhito Jita Duskalevaraha Idam hi yogeshvara yoga naipunam Hiranyagarbo Bhagavan Jagadayat Yat antakale dvai nirgune mano Bhaktyādadhito jita duskalevaraha. Idam, this, he, certainly. Yoga Ishvara, O my Lord, Master of all mystic power. Yoga Naipunam, the expert process of executing yogic principles. Hiranyagarbha, Lord Brahma. Bhagavan, the most powerful. Jagada, spoke. Yat, which, Antakale, at the time of death. Tvayi, in you, Nirgune, the transcendence. Mana, the mind. Bhaktya, with a devotional attitude. Dadhita, one should place. Ujhita duskalevaraha, having given up his identification with the material body. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Okay. O my Lord, Master of all mystic yoga, this is the explanation of the yogic process spoken by Lord Brahma, Hiranyagarbha, who was self-realized. At the time of death, all yogis give up the material body with full detachment, simply by placing their minds at your lotus feet. That is the perfection of yoga. Srila Madhvacharya says in purport, Yasya samyak bhagavati jnanam bhaktis tathaivacha nischintas tasya mokshasya sarva papa kuto pitu. For one who very seriously practices devotional service during his lifetime in order to understand the constant position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, liberation from this material world is guaranteed, even if he has previously been addicted to sinful habits. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Apichet saracharo pajanti mam ananyabhak sadar eva samantovya samyag vyavasthito hisaha. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is considered to be saintly because he is properly situated. The only purpose of life is to be fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and His form, pastimes, activities, and qualities. If one is able to think of Krishna in this way 24 hours a day, he is already liberated. Svarūpeṇa vyavasthitiḥ. Whereas materialists are absorbed in material thoughts and activities, devotees, on the contrary, are always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and Krishna's activities. Therefore, they are already on the platform of liberation. One has to think of Krishna with full absorption at the time of death. Then he will certainly return home back to Godhead without a doubt. Om Jnanatamannandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukram Krotavachalang Pangundang Hayate Gurim Yatkripa Tadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Vanchikapatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Putitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Also in the Bhagavad Gita, it's said by Sanjaya, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanarja, Tat Shri Vijayo Bhutir, Duva Nitir Matir Vama. He says, after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, that wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystic yoga, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will certainly be extraordinary opulence, great opulence. Now, I was just thinking about this, in Vrindavan, there's not so much opulence. I mean, if you can, it's like not big buildings, you know, it's like village life, you know, like huts, you know. But what's on the ground? Chintamani gems, yeah. And I was reading in one purport, Prabhupada said, in Vrindavan, there's no dull matter. Everything is alive. Everything moves, everything speaks, everything hears, everything is alive in Vrindavan. That's pretty amazing. So I can remember when we were kids, we'd see these cartoons where the houses would move and talk, and the trees, everything would move. So it's like that. Everything is conscious. Yeah. So there's great opulence. And then there's extraordinary strength. Wherever there's Krishna, there's extraordinary strength. Because Duryodhana and family, they were thinking they were going to win the war because they had so many more soldiers, a lot more soldiers. They had Krishna's army also. Yeah, more elephants and more everything. But Arjuna had Krishna. There's that amazing pastime of before Krishna had taken sides. Duryodhana and Arjuna happened to come at the same time to get Krishna on their side. And Krishna was transcendentally resting. So Duryodhana thought, well, better I'm at his head, because then he'll see me first and he'll ask what I want. And Arjuna thought, better I'm at his feet, I'm his servant. So Krishna transcendentally woke up and he saw Arjuna first. So Arjuna, oh, you're here. Why are you here? Well, oh, Duryodhana, you're here too. So they said, well, you know, inevitably there's going to be a war, and we just, you know, by chance, right? No chances, right? We just happen to be here at the same time, and we both want you on our side. So Krishna said, well, I'm not going to fight in this war. So, but I do have my army. So you could either have my army, you could have me. And Arjuna, I saw you first, so it's your choice. And Duryodhana is thinking, oh, geez, you know, he's definitely going to take the army. But Arjuna was aware of Krishna, his greatness. He said, Krishna, I'll take you. And Duryodhana is thinking, but this guy must be nuts. Yeah? He's taking Krishna, he's not even going to fight. But he was so happy. Duryodhana was so happy, that means he gets the army. Yes, yeah, they walked away both happy. But Arjuna was happier because he had Krishna. Yeah. So, yeah, Krishna is the most powerful, and therefore, because he had Krishna, he won the war. Yeah. And he even told Kunti, who was the mother of the Pandavas, at least three of them, and I guess stepsons to the others. Yeah. Krishna told her, none of your sons will be harmed in this battle. And practically everybody else died in the whole battle. And then Kunti said the stars may stop shining, but your promise will always... She said something else too, something like the stars may... I forgot exactly. But your promise will always be sure. Your promise will always come true. She was so surprised, actually, that none of them were even harmed. It's amazing. So Krishna is very powerful, extremely powerful. So Yatra Yogesvara, Yatra Partha Dinner, Tatra Shi, Vijayo, Bhutir, extraordinary strength, Tatra Shi, Vijayo, oh yeah, and he's always victorious. Krishna is always victorious. And anybody who surrenders to Krishna is also victorious. Yeah. Victory. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the other one is morality. Yeah, morality. Krishna is very moral. Well, some people may say, well, how is Krishna moral? I mean, he's playing the flute and all these young unmarried girls and women that had husbands, they're going and they're dancing with Krishna. How is that moral? So that was brought up to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said, Krishna, he is the Lord of everything. Everything belongs to Krishna. So all those gopis, the ones who are married and the ones who are unmarried, they belong to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. So how is he immoral if he's dancing with those persons who are his parts and parcels? Right? It's not immoral. Yeah, they're trying to enjoy Krishna's property. Exactly, they're trying to enjoy, the husbands are trying to enjoy the property of Krishna. Not good, immoral. But if they understand that Krishna's in the center of the relationship, then that's not immoral. As long as Krishna's in the center, then it's a moral relationship. Otherwise, it's immoral. So many relationships all over the world, immoral, because Krishna's not in the center. So this is the position of Krishna. And recently I was reading in one purport, Prabhupada says that one who surrenders to Krishna, his mind becomes the mind of the Supreme Lord. He becomes one, in desire, in thought. And I was just reading this whole pastime with the Guṇḍicā and Swarup Damodar. He was so in tune with the mood of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya would tell him to sing, and he would sing the exact song that Lord Chaitanya wanted to hear. So he was, and also if anybody wanted to recite anything to Lord Chaitanya, any poetry or anything, something that they came up with, first it had to go to Swarup Damodar to hear it. To hear it was okay or not. And sometimes he had to check things. You can't bring that to Lord Chaitanya. So he was so much in sync with Lord Chaitanya, so pure, so surrendered. His mind was in one with Lord Chaitanya. So the more we surrender to Krishna, the more we'll think like Krishna. It's like Krishna says, Etanyapi to karmani sangyang tatra phalani cha katavi nitim nishitaminam uttamam. He says all these activities should be performed without attachment, with no expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty. That is my final opinion. So Krishna has an opinion. He has a mind. He has the most pure, intelligent mind. And he has an opinion. And this is his opinion about work. So many people are working, but everybody's attached to the results. Yeah? It's like the Vaisesika Prabhu. He's our Sankirtan Acharya. He says to people, so there might be one, what am I going to get out of this? If I take this book, what am I getting out of this? I think there's three things. You remember? I can't remember the three things. Anyway, you get a lot out of getting Srila Prabhupada's books. It becomes auspicious. Your life becomes auspicious. You become free of stress. And there was one more. But yeah, we want to know, what are we going to get out of it? If I get something, if I give my hard-earned money, what am I going to get out of it? Right? So, Lord Krishna, he says here, we shouldn't be attached to the result. Yeah. We should be attached to our duty. And what is our duty? Besides Dravida, what's our duty? Yeah? What's the verse? Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Dravida.
The duty of everybody?
Yeah. Sarvadharmam parityaja, mamekam saranamaja, hang tvam sarvapapaja, moksha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I'll free you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. This is the duty of everyone, is to surrender to Krishna. And Krishna will be pleased. If we please Krishna, then we're happy. Dravida chanted that nice verse, which is a continuation of this. Yat karoshi yat asnasi yat jahosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat krusha mararpanam. Prabhupada said this is the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities you perform, should be done as an offering to me. So, we're making offerings to Krishna. All day long we're making offerings, just like we have the deity worship here. We're doing artiks, and devotees are cooking for the Lord. And also we're cleaning. Yeah. We have our Bhakti Joseph here. He's doing such a nice job cleaning the courtyard there. And other things. He likes to clean. That's good. Yeah, we're cleaning, we're distributing books, going on Harinam. So all these are offerings to Krishna. And the more we do it with no desire to get something out of it, without any expectation of result, the more we advance. Prabhupada said there's two things that go very deep in the heart. They're very difficult to remove. And one of them, attachment to the results. Just like Sankirtan devotees, sometimes they get attached to the results, you know. So it's again, we're challenging our mind, you know, because the mind wants to enjoy the result, get a big result. We got to, just like when we're chanting our japa, we got to beat our mind. Yeah. So also on book distribution, you got to beat our mind. You know? Keep beating the mind. Yeah. Then we could focus on our duty, our mission. Sometimes we get in the way, our attachment to the results, we get in the way of our mission, of the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah. In this book that, by the way, it's in the printing stage now. How long that takes? Well, that's another thing. And then there's a shipping stage. So, quite often in this book, devotees say that we should try to not get in the way of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya going out to conditioned souls. Because our attachments, they get in the way. Sometimes we're on book distribution, we might see an attractive lady and the mind goes off again. So many things, so many distractions are there that we have to avoid. And therefore we have to chant very good japa, not just for book distribution, for whatever service we're doing. If we chant sincere japa, that means our service, whatever service we're doing throughout the day, will be of a high quality. High quality japa means high quality service. So it's so important. Prabhupada said 99% of our advancement in Krishna consciousness is in the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we have to do it very attentively for the pleasure of Krishna. And everything is for the pleasure of Krishna. In the spiritual world, everyone is doing whatever they're doing for the pleasure of Krishna. So we're trying to get that mood while we're here in this world. And it's possible. Iha yasya harer darsya karmana manasagya nikila swapizasasu jivan mukta so uchtate. That anybody who engages their mind, their body, and their words in the service of Krishna can be liberated within this very lifetime. So this is our goal in this lifetime. Mind, body, and words. This body, I was just thinking how this body is just, as we know, it's just a bag. It's just a bag of so much disgusting stuff. But I was thinking, as I was dancing in front of the deities, it's such a horrible thing, but we could use it in the service of Krishna. Dance in front of the Lord. Krishna's pleased, although it's such an obnoxious thing. It's like Radhanath Swami was saying that the non-devotees, they go to the discotheque and they dance. Right? And the men are trying to pick up on the girls, and the girls are trying to pick up on the boys, and everybody leaves frustrated. Right? The soul is crying. The soul is crying. They're trying to get some pleasure in dancing, but they're suffering. Yeah. But the devotees, they dance before the Lord, and the soul is jubilant. It's happy, because the body is being used in the service of Krishna, dancing for the pleasure of the Lord. So this is what we should do. Whatever we're doing, we do it for the pleasure of Krishna. And this is our saving grace, doing everything for Krishna. So is there any question?
I want to preface this question by an apology, because I'm getting very old and forgetful. And it's entirely possible that this is an inappropriate question.
You have the best memory in the temple here.
Yeah, well. Did we read the purport? Did you read this purport?
We did.
You read the whole purport?
Yep.
Totally spaced out.
That's okay.
That was my question.
It happens to the best of us. That was a deep question. Yes, Dr. Joseph.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anti-Kali, at the time of death, you mentioned where we're supposed to be, but you didn't mention what happens afterwards, or...
Anti-Kali tamaveva swaram mukta kalevram yapatiti samadhitan yati... What is it? Yeah. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, whoever at the time of death thinks of me, he comes to me. So if we think of Krishna, if we just think of Krishna, see, now the idea is that we have to think of Krishna throughout our life. Then we'll be able to think of Krishna at the time of death. Because wherever we're thinking of, that's where our heart is, right? So if we're thinking of Krishna throughout this life, just we're chanting our rounds, 16 rounds a day, we're serving Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna throughout the day also. At least in our mind, we're thinking of Krishna also. Then, when the time of death comes, we think of Krishna, and we go back to Krishna. And we get our svarūpeṇa, our original form. We all have an original form in the spiritual world. Yeah. Oh yeah, okay.
What's the original form?
We don't know. You're going to find out. It's a secret.
So is that going back to Godhead then? So
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is somebody's not initiated or somebody in the world and they're still have Krishna on their mind at the time of death, they're still going to go back to that original form
Yeah,
also?
that was asked a couple of weeks ago. There's that pastime of Prabhupada where someone was asked if someone's going to go back to Godhead, they just think of Krishna, whether they're initiated or not. Actually, it's interesting also, beyond this, and devotees said, Prabhupada, so many of these people are getting your books, but they're not initiated, but some of them are really appreciating the books. And Prabhupada said that means they're already initiated, and they can go back to Godhead. So there's that, and there's also the other one, where one devotee his mother was passing away, and just before she passed away, she said, "Is your Krishna here now?" And she passed away. Prabhupada said she went back to Godhead. So there are exceptions. Generally, I mean, the idea is you get initiated and you take your vow 16 rounds and you read and chant and do service and then with Krishna's mercy you go back to Godhead. But there are exceptions. You're welcome.
So I remembered what I was going to say. I was speaking with Mahotsa when I was in Atlanta, and we were just talking about Sankirtan, and he coined this term Sankirtan Samadhi. Talks about that a lot. So he was saying that when he's out on books, it's him, the jiva, and Prabhupada, and the books, and there's nothing else on his mind. It's just that
Wow.
focus. And he says when you have that, and it just stays like that, that's Sankirtan Samadhi.
Yeah, good.
And then just to add to this discussion about initiated or not initiated, it is an exception, but there is like a general rule. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that if one just says, well, I'm just going to chant Hare Krishna, go back home, back to Godhead, but they don't accept a spiritual master, they're committing the third offense, the holy name, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Yeah, so these people, they don't even know that they should accept a spiritual master. But they're hearing about Krishna, they're attracted to Krishna, and if they think of Krishna at the time of death, then they can go back home. But if someone knows that they should be initiated, they should take initiation, but well, I don't know if I want to go through that. I'll just chant Hare Krishna. Yeah. In this regard, okay. Yeah.
Okay,
In
so
this,
then,
are you can ask a question in this regard, or is this is different?
to the initiation or not initiated.
okay.
So I'm aspiring.
Yeah.
But out to the world, a lot of people say they're aspiring also. They're doing the 4 regs and they're chanting, but they're engaging in other activities and playing with their money or whatever. But anywho, I understand if the guru is presented to you, you want to definitely. But anyway, the aspiring, what actually is what's someone doing when they're aspiring? Whether it's living at the temple or living outside the temple or.
Well, if someone is aspiring to be initiated, they've got to follow the program, follow the principles. If you're not following the regular principles, then you could still be aspiring, but you have to aspire to become free of sinful activities. And you can't be initiated until those 4 principles are followed and 16 rounds. So that's a prerequisite for initiation. So.
And I think I can comment on.
Yeah.
Because the idiom is, are you, amongst the devotees is I'm aspiring, and it's understood, aspiring to take initiation. But I think that just you're separating from the aspiring from the initiation. I'm aspiring, they're aspiring. The demons are aspiring. Asha, pasha, but the word asha means to aspire for something. So it's what are you aspiring for that makes all the difference. So aspiring to be initiated means you have to go through the steps, you know. I think that was the conclusion. We're all aspiring. But,
Yeah. We're aspiring to be pure devotees.
We're all still aspiring.
I was just wondering if you could repeat the statement. Something about, I've heard it before, but maybe with different percentages, but something like 90% or 99 or 98% of our spiritual life is our japa. What was it?
You know, I heard Radhanath Swami say that Prabhupada said that 99% of our advancement in Krishna consciousness is in the chanting of Hare Krishna. Yeah.
So you heard it from Radhanath Swami?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to find out from him where he heard it. He's coming here in 3 weeks. He's coming in 3 weeks. Radhanath Swami. We could ask him. Hopefully they'll be here for you. Have you heard he's coming?
Well, yeah, he went to the East Coast and he's going to come back to the West Coast. And President Swami spoke to him. He said he would come.
Hopefully he'll spend at least a few days.
Maybe he'll be able to
One thing we can for sure know, we have to look for this reference, but we know this reference in the introduction of the Nectar of Instruction. Prabhupada says, the advancement of the devotee is dependent on his attitude.
Yeah.
So what's your attitude towards chanting? Is it an attentive attitude and an inattentive attitude? So
Yeah, if we're chanting attentively with a desire to serve Krishna,
it's a good attitude.
that's a good attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and it's iti sadasakam nama kalikam masanasanam, that in this, if one wants to be free of the contamination of this age and be free of all the sins of this age, there's no alternative other than the chanting of Hare Krishna. So this is the process. We have to do it with attentively, and also, but with without material attachment. These are the two main offenses that we commit. We have to understand our spiritual nature also. And this is the result, actually, of chanting Hare Krishna sincerely, is we get realization. I'm not this body. I'm the soul. I'm part of Krishna. I should just serve Krishna. So this is the result of chanting Hare Krishna. Okay, anything else? Yes. Okay, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Oh, Vijay Krishna. Okay, Vijay, you're on.
Yes, Vijay Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. My question is, what is the difference between a serious practitioner and someone who is playing games with Krishna? Can you give me at least one symptom? Okay.
You know, there's devotional service in different modes of nature. There's devotional service in the mode of ignorance. Did you know that? There's devotional service in the mode of ignorance. And there's an example of that. The most clear example of that was when Prabhupada was here, there was some devotees who, before they joined and before they were initiated, they were drug dealers. So they thought that they would dovetail that in the service of Krishna. So they were selling a lot of drugs. But they were giving the money to Prabhupada. And a lot of money, like thousands and thousands of dollars to Prabhupada. And a devotee found out about that and said, Prabhupada, you know this money that they just gave you? It's from selling drugs. And Prabhupada said, then tell them to stop this. It's sinful. So that's devotional service in the mode of ignorance. They were doing it for Krishna, for Prabhupada. The money was going to Prabhupada, to Krishna. But it was ignorance, because it was increasing people's illusion. And sincere devotional service is anyabhilasita sunyam jnana karmanyanavattam anokuyena Kṛṣṇa silanam bhakti uttama. That one should render transcendental loving service unto the Supreme Lord favorably, without any desire for material enjoyment or fruit of activity. This is called pure devotional service. So again, this is coming up, with no desire to enjoy the fruits. You know, everybody wants to enjoy the fruits. Even, you know, we try to enjoy some of the facilities we might get in Krishna consciousness. You know, you come, it's like sometimes people join, they don't have anything, And then they join the movement, and all of a sudden they have money and they have facilities, and some might try to enjoy that. So no, everything is actually for Krishna. We should not try to be the enjoyer. Krishna is the enjoyer. Bhoktaram yagatapasang sarvalokam maheshram surang sarabhutam gyatvam shantim richasti. That he's the enjoyer of sacrifice. If we try to be the enjoyer, then we have to stay here in this world. We're here to give pleasure to Krishna. He's the proprietor. He owns everything. Bhoktaram yagatapasang sarvalokam suradam. He's the friend of all living entities. So this is Krishna. And we have to try to understand the position of Krishna as much as we can. We can't understand Krishna fully. Nobody can understand. Even Krishna doesn't understand himself fully because he's always expanding. But we should try to understand Krishna to some degree and surrender to him. Okay, is that all right?
Yes, better than all right, as usual. Brilliant answer to my question, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki